seek you out, flay you alive.
It's Pogo here, and welcome to the next episode of BanManagement. In this episode, we are going to design the website. We're not going to get the actual code, the PHP code to work, but we're just going to get the sample design. We have 3 pages that we need to make, and we're going to put some sample values on the pages just to kind of see how everything is going to look when it's finished. We are going to be using Bootstrap for this, so if you don't know what that is, or if you need any help with it, I do have a video in the Web Design Basics series about Bootstrap, so you'll want to take a look at that. The first thing I did is I downloaded Bootstrap from getbootstrap.com, and I copied the CSS fonts and JS folders onto this website. So I now have all of the assets that I need to use Bootstrap. The 3 pages that we're going to make, or at least for now, are going to be the index page. That's going to be a list of all of the list of all of the bands. Then we're going to have an information page that is going to show information about a particular band. Then we're going to have a page for adding or editing a band. So you can create a new band from the website, or you can edit the details of an existing one if you want to change the message, or even change the date, perhaps. We're not going to have an account system working in this episode because it's going to take a while to get everything done, but we will get some sort of an account system worked out because we need to limit who can add, remove, and edit bands. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and create an index page, and I'm going to make these all PHP pages because we will eventually be using some PHP on these. So I'm just going to get our standard index page ready, and this is going to have a table that contains the information of all of the bands, and it's going to be clickable, so you can click on a band in order to see the details of it. So in the head, as you know with Bootstrap, we need to first do the style sheet. So link rel equals style sheet, href equals css/bootstrap.min.css. So we have our CSS file in there, and we also, I don't believe we're going to need the JavaScript right now, but if we do at some point, then I will add it. So we have the head done, and we'll also go ahead and stick in a title, and we'll call this BanManagement Home. Now, inside of the body, we're going to first put in a Jumbotron, kind of like a title to give the information, the title BanManagement, and then like a little slogan. And then right under that, we're going to have a table, and we'll also have a button for adding a new band. So we will first go ahead and start with the div class equals Jumbotron. Inside of this Jumbotron, we of course need our container, as always. And we'll go ahead and put our title, BanManagement, and our slogan as being online band management for Minecraft servers. Good. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this website so that we have everything up on the server. And now I'm going to reload, and we should go from the default page to we now have our BanManagement homepage, and we have the title and the slogan. Good. So we can check in and see how everything looks. We have our Jumbotron ready, so now we'll go ahead, and I think that we're going to put a plus button right after this. We're going to put it on the right side, and then we'll have a table. Let's just go ahead and do the table first. We're going to go ahead and say table class equals, it's going to be table, and we'll go ahead and say bordered. We want to have it be fully bordered. I think it just looks a little bit nicer. Now inside of this, we're going to put our first table row, and we're going to put a first heading of the ID, then the UUID, then the date, and then the reason. and this actually needs to be inside of a container. So let's reload this, and you'll see we now have our nice bordered table with the ID, the UUID, the date, and the reason. So we'll go ahead and just stick in a couple of sample values, and when we get the PHP part working, it'll actually pull the database for information. So we'll go ahead and put in the ID of 1, UUID of dash 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 dash. I don't really want to put in a valid UUID. The date will be 01/17/15 at 2:38 p.m. That's the current time. And it might not look in that exact format when we get it from the database. It might be in a slightly different format, but don't worry about that. And we'll say reason is griefing. If I spelled that, I believe I spelled that correctly. And you'll see we now have one entry, the ID of 1, UUID, dash, 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 the date, and then the reason. And we'll go ahead and we'll just add in one more. This is, of course, the ID of 2, and this happened yesterday at 9:22 a.m., and they were banned for advertising. And now we have our second entry. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. It's going to have a bunch of different entries here. We could add searching. That would be a separate episode. We could add filtering. And then we'll just go ahead and stick in a plus button. We're going to put it right here above the table. So right above the table, we're going to first put it in a container. And then we're going to do our input class equals button. Not class, sorry. Input type equals button. Class equals btn primary. That'll be a blue color. And, okay. Value, of course, we want, what is it going to say? I'm just going to use the plus symbol, make it look nice and easy, nice and simple. And then we get this button, and we'll go ahead and we're going to add the pull-right class. And that will go ahead and stick it over to the right, just like that. And probably just want a line break in there to, I think you usually use 2. Let's just put a second one in. And now we have a little bit of space. So we have this plus button, and if I click that, it should go ahead and add a new ban. So we'll go ahead and we will make that work. This is going to be onClick equals, and we're going to write location.href equals, and then this is just how you make a button work by itself outside of a form. We're going to set the location of this window to be a different location. It will be addban.php, and we're going to write that. So if I reload this and if I click on this now, it takes me to addban.php, which doesn't work obviously, but clicking that will take me to a page where I have the ability to add/edit a ban. So hitting that plus button does in fact work, and of course the IDs need to be clickable. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll make the ID, if I click on ID 1, it'll take me to that information. So this will be href equals ban.php !ID equals 1. We're putting this to the ban.php page, and we're setting the get argument of ID equal to 1 because this is ID number 1, and we'll write 1. And if I reload this, you'll see I can now click on 1. It takes me to ban.php, and we're of course going to write that in a second. And I'm giving it the ID so it knows exactly which ban it should retrieve to get all of that information. And we'll call that one 2. So I can now click on 2, and it will take me to that ban. Alright, so now we need to get add ban and ban set up. We'll go ahead and do ban first. I'm going to create this new file. And we need to get our head and our body. I'm going to grab these 2 lines because we need that style sheet in there, and we'll call this BanManagement BAN. Okay, so on this page, I guess the design of this page will just be another table with some information, but I think what we'll do is we'll have all of the information out in a table, and then to the left of it we'll have a little panel of actions like edit or delete. So the first thing that we'll do in our body is we'll go ahead and create a column. Column -lg let's just say 4. That might be too much. I didn't go over the column system in Bootstrap, but basically what this is going to do is it's going to divide up the line into different columns, and the columns need to add up to be 12, so this will be 4, and then I'll have another one with an 8, and you'll see what that is going to look like. So first, on the very left, we're going to have 2 buttons. We're going to have an edit button and a delete button. So we're going to put this inside of a panel. So we'll put this in a panel -warning, because this is, editing stuff. And we'll say div class equals panel heading, manage div class equals panel body, and then that's where we're going to put in all of the buttons. So I'll just write, just so that I can show you this, buttons go here. So we'll stick them in there. Then here we're going to have the table, and I'm going to go ahead and just basically copy this table here. And we're only going to have, this is not going to be a link, and we're going to have it I'm just going to hard code values in here to make it simple. So let's go take a look and see how it looks right now. First, we'll go ahead and stick this inside of a container, and I'm putting them both in the same container because they both need to be on the same line. And if we look at it now, you'll see we have this little window here that says manage, and buttons go here, and then over here we have a table of information. This isn't really the best looking thing. I think we could go ahead and use a Jumbotron in here to take up a little bit of space and make it look a little bit nicer. So we'll go ahead and stick a Jumbotron in here, and we'll call it, we'll just write ban ID 1. And we can just go ahead and take this ID out of the table. So you'll see we have, it says ban, we don't even need the ID. We can just say ban 1, number 1, and I'll just force upload it. So now we have ban number 1. You'll see we have this manage area where we can put in the add and delete buttons, and then over here we have the table of information, the UUID, the date, and the reason. So this is very simplistic, but it's really all the information that we need. I'm going to go ahead and make this simple. I'm going to copy these buttons, oops, and I'm going to stick 2 of them inside of here. The first button will be called edit, and that'll take it to addban.php, ID equals 1. So what it's going to do is it's going to take us to that addban page, but it's going to have the get argument ID equal to whatever it is. In this case, it's going to be 1. And then instead of adding a new ban, it'll fill in the data on that page with the current data and allow you to update instead of add. And the other one is going to be delete, and this is going to take us to, we'll just make a page called, we'll just make a page called delete ban, and that's, no one's gonna see it, it's just going to run the 1 line of code to remove it from the database, and then it'll redirect back to the index. So we'll not write that now, it's not going to have any visuals on it. Let's just see how this looks. Let's just upload it. And okay, we have our edit and delete buttons. First of all, we'll make edit be a button warning, and then this will be a button danger. I don't think we want to pull them to the right either. We can just leave them aligned over to the left. So now we have our orange edit button and our red delete button. The edit button does redirect to the addBan.php, and delete does go to deleteBan.php. And of course, we'll make sure that this only shows up to people who have permission. Before we finish here, I'll just go ahead and swap this to be 2 and 10 because we don't need as much room given to the manage. So now it looks a little bit better. I might tweak the buttons a little bit because it's not the nicest looking thing. Maybe I'll stick them both on the same line. In fact, we'll go ahead and try that. I'm going to see if it'll work. Div class equals, I believe it's form inline. Let's see if we stick both of these buttons. And I'm going to remove, of course, the line breaks because I'm going to try to stick them both on the same line. Oh, that worked. So now the edit and delete buttons are both on the same line, and it's in this little manage bubble. You could also take it out of the bubble and reposition the reposition the buttons, or you could stick the table in a bubble, but that's pretty simple to do, and we're just gonna leave it like this. Lastly, we need to do the add ban page. That's going to contain a field for each piece of information, and it'll either create a new ban or it will take a ban and edit its data. So for that, we'll go ahead and I'm just going to be lazy, copy the index file, and I'm going to delete, so it'll be add/edit ban, and then I'm just going to delete this stuff, so I don't have to worry about doing the style sheet and everything again. So the title will be add/edit ban, and I don't think we need to have a slogan. So if I go to this page, you'll see it says add/edit ban, and then we'll go ahead and stick in a container, and then we'll go ahead and put in our form method equals post, and we're gonna set up the form. We might need to put in a hidden field or whatever, but we're just gonna set up the visuals for today. So the first thing is going to be the UUID, input type equals text, name equals UUID, so we can give it a name. We also need input type equals text. What's the next thing? Date time. We can use the date time. That'll give a nice looking date time chooser, and we'll name it date. And finally, we need a text called reason. And if we take a look at it right now, it's not going to look too great. Let me just save that. And let's see if it updated now. Yeah, it did. So that's not the greatest looking thing. First, let's make it look more like Bootstrap. We'll go ahead and use the class form control, and that gives us, that works on any kind of form element. You just use form control and it makes it look like Bootstrap. So if we reload, you'll see we now have these three things. We're going to give them placeholders as well because it doesn't look that great. You can't really tell what does what, so we'll give that a placeholder of UUID, placeholder of date, and we'll give this one a placeholder of reason. So now they actually, you can tell what you are trying to do here. And finally, they're a little bit too close to each other, so we're going to stick each of them inside of a div class equals form group. So we're going to stick each of them in a form group, and then that'll give them a little bit of space from each other. Form group, and one more. We'll do that. Okay, that is a bit strange, but finally we do need to have the submit button, so input type equals submit. So we need to have that submit button. Oh, that's right, it needs to have its class of btn, and we'll give this one btn primary, so it'll be blue. Now we have that. Oh, I'm sorry, this says form control. That's supposed to be form group. That was silly. Okay, so that's why it was looking strange. So now you have UUID, date, reason, and submit. We're going to handle the submitting part in the next video, or in a future video when we do the PHP part of this, but this is the setup. It has the 3 fields and the ability to submit. So these are the 3 pages that we did today. Let's just quickly go through them. This is our home page that will display all of the bands in a nice looking table. It will display brief outline of information. So if you've just been banned, you can go to the home page and kind of take a look. We can add searching and filtering if that is something that would interest you guys. But we can also in the game provide the user with a link. We can say, you have been banned, go to website.com/ban, $ID equals whatever, and then they can go view it. If you want to view a particular ban, you can click on it or just go to the page and give it the ban number as a get argument. It'll show you the information again, and then it'll give administrators the ability to manage. They can edit or delete. If they choose to edit, or if they choose to hit this plus button right here, they can add or edit a ban, giving the UUID, the date, and the reason, and hitting that submit button. So we now have a basic design for the website. I might tweak the design a little bit just to make it look a little bit nicer, and we are going to, of course, make the PHP backend work, and we'll probably also add a login or at least a password system, so you have to type in a password in order to access certain pages and perform certain actions. So, as always, subscribe if you want to see more, comment with what you want to learn. If you like this video, click the like button, and I'll see you guys soon with some more coding. Bye for now.